At 4, family says it's fighting for justice after a single punch led to an elderly man's death.
Someone needs to be held accountable and take responsibility for killing my dad.
The new $50 million challenge for a former police officer and the city of Detroit. Kim.
Well, it certainly does look like it should be warm outside, but it's actually chilly. Plenty of sunshine, but we can only make it into the mid to upper 30s. But we have 60s on the way, close to 70 in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up.
Hey, Kim, we're listening to you, but we're also listening to the animals who are telling us everything we need to know about what's coming up for the rest of the winter. These stories and more are happening right now on Local 4, First at 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We've got breaking news. A new ruling is handed down in the James Crumbley case about who the prosecution can and cannot call as a witness. We got our hands on the court's decision. It was just before 3. It says only one of the 2 students on the amended witness list will be able to take the stand. These witnesses are students shot by Ethan Crumbley. The order goes on to say that while one of the survivors will be able to testify, they can't talk about their personal pain and suffering, emotional trauma, or ongoing treatment issues. Remember, we will stream the entire trial over on Local 4 Plus starting on March 5th. City of Detroit and a former police officer just got slapped with a $50 million lawsuit over the death of a 70-year-old man. Now, you may recall Darrell Vance. He was involved in a confrontation with Officer Juwan Brown outside a Detroit bowling alley. Brown punched Vance, who fell to the ground, hit his head, and then later died. Earlier this year, a judge dismissed an involuntary manslaughter charge against Brown, saying Vance was the aggressor and the officer was defending himself. Attorneys for the Vance family say, regardless of the criminal case, body cam video shows a violation of Vance's civil rights.
Frankly, it doesn't matter what happened before. He punched him in the face. He acted like a schoolyard bully, pulled out a taser, decided he wasn't going to do that, and then he says to himself, I'm just going to smoke this guy in the side of the head, knock him down, and he dies. And to me, make up any story you want about what happened inside anywhere in the inside of the bowling alley. Doesn't matter to me. It is no defense to this flagrant constitutional violation that ultimately killed Mr. Vance.
Prosecutors have said they'll appeal the dismissal of the criminal charges. Brown is trying to get his job back, and that appeals process continues as far as we know. Now, we did reach out to the city and Juwan Brown for a response to the suit. We're waiting to hear back. Members of Michigan's congressional delegation are putting new pressure on President Biden this afternoon over the war in Gaza. Their new demands come after Israeli forces opened fire at Palestinian civilians in line for food. Witnesses say people were swarming around the trucks when Israeli tanks and drones just started shooting at them in the streets of western Gaza City. More than 100 people are dead, nearly 800 others are injured. Israeli officials say their forces used live fire on people after they became a threat to their troops, but the civilians were apparently unarmed. President Biden was asked about the violence.
We're checking that out right now. There's two competing versions of what happened. I don't have an answer yet.
Are you worried that that will complicate these negotiations?
I know will.
The president is now backing off hopes for any kind of ceasefire by Monday. He was saying today's violence is likely to complicate negotiations. Kimberly Gill in the newsroom right now with demands from some Michigan lawmakers. Kim?
You're right. Hi, Karen. Good afternoon. The war in Gaza hits home for so many members of our Arab and Muslim communities, and because of that connection, Michigan has almost become ground zero for the battle over the best way to end the war in Gaza. The war started after a deadly Hamas attack on Israel. Today, the Hamas-run Ministry of Health says more than 30,000 Palestinians have lost their lives. 30,000. Michigan lawmakers say they're fighting for the people in their districts with ties to the Middle East. President Biden just faced a 13% uncommitted vote in Tuesday's primary, likely because of his policies in Gaza. Representative Rashida Tlaib realizes holding Biden accountable could have a ripple effect in U.S. politics, but she blames Biden for that possibility. Listen.
I am incredibly scared of a second term of Trump. And I think it's really important to emphasize this. Right now, our democracy is at stake. And I'm asking the president, and I think many of us are saying, change course, because you're threatening literally our democracy.
I have family in my district that has lost 40 members of their family, grandparents, aunts and uncles and cousins. Others that have lost 20 members. We know There is no food.
Tlaib, Dingell, and other members of Congress are demanding a permanent ceasefire, and they're seeking a meeting with President Biden. We haven't seen a response from the White House as of yet, but Karen, we'll have more from Gaza and the Middle East when you join us for Local 4 News at 5. For now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Kim. Former Michigan Congressman Justin Amash has jumped into the race for the U.S. Senate. The Republican from the western side of the state says Michigan needs a principled conservative to take the seat now held from Senator Debbie Stabenow. She's retiring. Amash joins a GOP field featuring former Congressmen Mike Rogers and Peter Meyer, among several others. Well, it definitely feels like winter again, but at least we do have plenty of sunshine out there. This is a live look at Southfield on this 29th day of February. Happy leap year, Kim.
Well, yes, absolutely. I heard this morning that 5 million people are born on leap year.
That's crazy. I didn't know.
You know how much younger we would be?
I know, right?
That'd be nice. 36 right now in Mount Clemens, 34 in Pontiac, 38 at Metro Airport. Temps are definitely warmer than they were yesterday as we had those falling temps in the afternoon. It's 11 degrees warmer than it was at this same time yesterday at Metro and in Pontiac, also in Howell, 9 degrees warmer downtown and in Mount Clemens, and 10 degrees warmer in Monroe and Grosse Ile. So we are trending in the right direction. Tomorrow we get even warmer than today. Starts out at 29, so that's warmer than it was this morning by about 10 degrees. And then we make it to a high of 47. There will be an increase in clouds in the afternoon tomorrow. A nice weekend ahead, and we are not done with temperatures that are near 70. Not at 70, but pretty close. We'll talk about when coming up.
All right, thanks, Kim. Federal judge has blocked a new Texas law that would give police broad powers to arrest migrants suspected of illegally entering the U.S. That ruling's sure to heat up the political battle on a really big day. Both President Biden and former President Trump are making stops along the southern border to highlight their efforts to solve the immigration problem. Biden is blaming Republicans for killing a compromise Senate bill that would have drastically changed border security. Former President Trump will also be on the border, but he'll be about 300 miles away in Eagle Pass, Texas. He's arriving pretty soon, but some activists were protesting his visit this morning. Members of the Texas Border Coalition say the policies of Trump and Governor Greg Abbott militarize a community that needs basic aid. We'll have more on these dueling visits tonight at 5. So we're about to go through some inflation numbers that may not sound exciting, but they certainly affect interest rates and, of course, our family budgets. U.S. Consumer Price Index showing prices rose 0.3% from December to January. That is up from 0.1% the previous month. But prices were up just 2.4% year to year, so that is down from 2.6% in December. It's also the lowest annual increase since March of 2021, edging closer to the Fed's goal of 2% inflation. Well, before we had the forewarned weather team, it was animals who gave us hints about the weather. And we're not just talking about those groundhogs. Remember when the appearance of, let's say, robins or chipmunks or other critters meant spring was upon us? You may have seen them out and about in February. Paula Tutman went on a hike with a naturalist to figure out what that means. She is live in downtown Rochester this afternoon. Hey, Paula.
Hey, Karen. Hi, everybody. Look at this. Look at this right here. I know it's a leap year, but still, this is February, and look what's coming up. In short, the likelihood of a long spate of freezing cold weather is very unlikely moving forward, according to Mother Nature and her critters.
Saw red-winged blackbird last week.
You said that's the harbinger of spring.
Yeah, so that's what I always look for, is when you can expect it, the weather to change and spring to be here when the male red-winged blackbirds come back.
Stunning and almost startling, a hike with Rochester Hills naturalist Lance DeVoe, a wildlife expert, and he is surprised by what he's been seeing in Michigan for the last several weeks.
You're not going to believe this. A bluebird just landed in that tree right over there. I have seen a groundhog too. They are true hibernators. They're not like skunks, and how about skunks? Skunks are everywhere already.
We're a winter state, period. But this year, we only had 2 sub-zero days in mid-January. The big lakes are not frozen, the ponds are not hard frozen, the ground is not frozen. Long story short, animals whose metabolisms are dictated by weather have already gotten the cues that it's safe to come out and start nesting for spring.
There's 4 things that animals do to overwinter: migrate, hibernate, go dormant, or adapt to the conditions like deer do with changing their coat.
Now, there is a flock of robins that generally overwinters in Michigan, but it's not your imagination if you see more, because the change in global climate has shortened the migratory pattern of robins. But red-tipped blackbirds, bluebirds...
And the reason they migrate is not that they're not built for it. It's that they don't have the food source. There, right there. You gotta go, that's a male. But birds that are, say, insectivores like bluebirds are, there's no insects out in the wintertime. So they have to find a different way to get energy.
And yes, even skunks and chipmunks, that's something else entirely. If we do get a prolonged sub-zero cold snap, it could mean curtains for these early arrivers. But more likely, Lance says, spring has actually already sprung.
If anyone's had any question about climate change, you can pretty much just look at the animals to tell you what's going on with that.
And the plants, look at that. It's February. So here's the really important piece. Don't feed these early arriving mammals, because as they move in and out of dormancy and hibernation, you're only giving them extra time to habituate to unnatural food sources. If you are seeding your birds, make sure you have a cone or a hood to keep those squirrels and chipmunks away, because they're here early. That means you also have to start behaving differently early to protect your property. Karen, happy spring.
Like that advice. All right. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.